Good evening. Monsters. Chapter 1, Part 2. Tony. The trouble with using your girlfriend's gay best friend as a smokescreen, I whisper, is she ends up thinking she's the fucking smokescreen. Tongues. Dave sounds irritated, like he wishes he hadn't answered his phone. Really got the taste of the liquor out of my mouth. You gave his penis a pet name already. Lecker is a girl's name. Pretty. Such a fit body. Maya's gay best friend? Well, since you mention it, I'm not sure I could have gone through it if Yucca wasn't also such a fine piece of ass. You've got to have standards, Tony. Way too fucking hairy, though. Shaving your man in the bath is a romantic treat for both of you. Maya strolls into the kitchen to find me laughing and muttering something in Danish that I don't make out, puts the kettle on. She leans against the door frame, arms folded, and the flushed temper of her cheeks is the same blood red as the shimmer of her hair. Say hi to your brother for me. Maya says hi, Dave. Say hi from me. Dave says hi, I tell her, trying to smile. She sneers back and I instinctively cut my hand around the mouthpiece. Have you told him yet, Tony? Or did he already know you like dicks? Please, I beg. Think of the phone bill. And you'll be here when it arrives, will you? She snorts. When's it due? I might still be away on the island. Run away then, she says under her breath, and that's not really done. Run away. Run away then, she says under her breath and pushes away from the door frame into the living room. Not very good at this, am I? Don't make out like that's news to you, Maya, I shout after her. Maya? Same farm as last year. Same faces as every year. Maya! The only reply I get is that clunk the tape player makes whenever our decrepit relic of a stereo gets switched on. I lower my voice. I swear to fucking God, Dave, if she puts Gloria Gaynor on repeat again, I will lose my fucking mind. Think yourself lucky she didn't kick the shit out of you. That'd be committing a hate crime, since in her eyes I'm basically queer. Well, playing I Will Survive on repeat will only make matters worse. It's not funny, Dave. This is like the worst thing I could have done to her. He mumbles something about that being because it throws the honesty of the entire relationship into question. His voice is far away, distant, and it's more than just the bad connection, but Culture Club at full blast drowns out the fucking lot. My hand's already over the mouthpiece as Maya bursts back into the kitchen. How can you just feel like kissing a man? She bawls. It doesn't matter. How can I believe it doesn't matter? I wonder what it would take. I wonder what it would change if she knew what I'd been up to in the shadows of Lerga. Sometimes, though, you're simply better off with your girlfriend thinking you like dicks. Are you gay, Tony? She demands. Are you? The kettle just boiled, Maya. And no. So why do you want to fuck me in my arse? She counters, and I can only gape at her dumbfounded for a second. You're a bloody girl. And I should have left it at that, but I add, it's all Jack ever talks about lately. Maya cocks her head at me and I hold her gaze to manage a slight pained grimace of a smile. Her reply is low and measured. Then I suggest you go fuck him in the arse. She turns on her heel and storms out. I wait for the bedroom door to slam closed and lift the phone to my ear. Sorry about all that, Dave, I say. Dave? David. Nothing ever really changes in this fucking city. Your birthplace feels nothing like the sanctity or refuge it should, but its dirt holds your parents, so where else could you run to? Having given up on piercing the grey overcast for another day, the sun sees your crushing bitterness at the absence of beauty, wonder or comfort, and raises you an asphyxiated sense of doom and abandonment. Rewind back a month and you're bidding Denmark farewell in a smoky tavern while grey-green eyes wrought fierce in struggle cut you to pieces one glance at a time. Fast forward a few hours and you're upstairs with her owner in the apartment she shares with Mayanna. Cool fingers brush your arm as Kirsten retreats to her bedroom. Mousy blonde hair a billow around that flush, soft face, like the last soft caution of a Mills and Boon cover heroine before surrendering to the gamekeeper's firm embrace. When you slide beneath her sheets, she's already naked and strips you impatiently, pulling you on top, taking you inside her, wild and angry, giving way to slow and tender, and you both curse the dawn when it comes. Fast forward to nightfall, and you're slouched in a soulless lounge at the mercy of the resident crooner of the drabbest hulk of steel hung out in the North Sea. You retreat from that jangling lethargy of insipid classics to the icy wind of the sun deck, and chain smoke leant against the rail, peering out across pitch darkness at the distant lights of other travellers, then down into the vast expanse of nothing you survive in for long. The wake breaks the rough, rolling surface of the abyss, like how you imagine life. The tempest disturbs the oblivion of death. Fucked that up, didn't you? But you have to come back, David. You retreat to the fucking bar. Tony. It's the strawberries more than any other season on Samstow that sees hordes of vital, foreign crusty students and plastic hippies descend in search of reward, refreshment, or revolution. I always found there to be way too many distractions on those farms to earn more than a pittance from piece rate picking, but they don't call the island the fruit basket of Denmark for nothing. This'll be my second summer experience in that whole entire build-up, peak, wane and demise from the financial security of an onion season. Hourly pay, more work, and no Swedish girls bent over in the next row to upset the Protestant work ethic. After 3 months of that, returning home to wonderful Copenhagen as if nothing ever happened will probably be the easiest thing in the fucking world, but we'd only be lying to ourselves by falling back into those cosy old habits of playing grown-ups like children decked out in their mother's shoes and makeup. Maya knew as well as I did that we were doomed, but still she begged me to stay. We held each other tight, we wept, we made love miserably, and neither one of us came. She didn't beg again after that. Expressing my dissatisfaction by seeking out such contrasts with her as the freckles of a bony blonde and the beard around a coarse tongue was a lot of unnecessary drama on my part, when all I really had to do to stop her bitching and moaning was control my drinking and close cupboard drawers behind myself. All my adult life she's been with me, either in the flesh or as a ghost to build a shell of wonder around, but love can't fill the cracks once patience bleeds out. You deserve a lot better, Maya, I told her, and a lot more of it too. But what I kept to myself was that we both do. David. There's a noise down by the ferry. Loud, but like something hard hitting something soft. In the distance, some guy pulls himself up off the ground and roars at someone in the queue. A drunk, pissing on one of the ticket machines, darts his head round quickly as you pass, glaring malevolently, then turning back, the arc of piss splashing onto his shoes. Noticing, he shouts at the machine, punching it with his free hand. Thanking fuck he didn't think to blame you, you walk fearfully down the ramp towards the disturbance, a crowd of men in badly stitched Timmy Hilfiger dominating the pontoon. Raised voices, and one of them staggers towards you, but you push quickly past the argument, hand your ticket over to the ferryman, and board the boat. You laugh nervously to yourself, glad for the wine in your system, and light a cigarette. All this just to go meet Craig for a few pints. But then he is the only friend you have left down here, so you should make the effort. Out the window a lunatic's swing misses and he falls to the ground, his head striking a metal pole. He rises slowly to his feet, face dark, crimson, and touching his temple, screams with rage when his fingers come away covered in blood. The crossing is delayed while the police are called, so you walk to the back of the boat and look out over the water as the Pride of Portsmouth slinks off to Le Havre. a few pleasant souls throwing their arms in the air. You don't wave back, looking over toward the dockyard to stare at the stars and stripes flapping in the breeze at the back of the US destroyer. And as the Continental ferry moves out of the harbour, it presents the mournful grey tombstone high-rises over in Gosport like a disappointing game show reveal. Let's take a look at what you could have won. Behind you, the first 50-odd metres of Portsmouth's Millennium Tower juts from the corner of Gunwharf Quay's franchise sites and factory outlets, years overdue and millions over budget, cracking up into a night sky of black clouds with all the grace and grandeur of the genital rigor mortis of a dead old man. You take a deep lungful of the morbid dread that saturates everything in this god-forsaken city and cough for your cigarette. This place terrifies you, and living off in the solace of the middle distance with the mistress of your imagination doesn't help. You mirror back the disdain you sense from those around you, but how else are you to stay sane? You're looking for a job. Tony has work on the island. You could have had work on the island too, but you couldn't face Kirsten, you fucking coward. So, prepare yourself for on-target bonuses or words per minute, for sweating in a pot wash or chopping burnt fingers, for getting to the factory on a brakeless bike without ending up mangled together with it under a lorry, then staying awake on a night shift. Because the island isn't Denmark anymore, then you are not Portsmouth. That was a terrible delivery. Because the island isn't Denmark any more than you are not Portsmouth. Like you said to Kirsten on the phone the other day, you don't like sensible. I don't like sensible. It's boring. It's just not sexy. You were talking about us. She laughed and agreed, and you loved her, but her voice would begin to waver, her responses becoming non-committal. You said lots of pretty sentences, lots of honest, heartfelt statements of intention. She said she knows how you feel, how she misses you, how it'd be good if she could forget you, good if she can't. Then she said she can't. But the conversation lacked the energy of passion or longing. It seemed a strain for her to open up, yet you continued to force it, continued to prompt her to try. Kirsten sighed, and it reminded you of the way an old lover used to. She said she isn't thinking of the two of you together, but still can't help but think of you. But no spark, despite the words, despite her laughter. No spark, just a hollow sense of rejection. You said lots of pretty sentences, lots of honest, heartfelt statements of intention. She said she'll only know when you meet again. This doesn't feel right. This isn't how it should be. Your friends were right. She's bad for you. Walk away. Just be honest with yourself. There's only heartache down this path. You know this, so why won't you act on the knowledge? You can't help it, can you? You're the moth and she's the flame. A valuable friend. A rotting fish on a beach that only your old dog knew why it was so good to roll in. But because of something just behind her eyes the last time you made love, you have no choice. You can't help but love her. You can't help but pine for her, ache for her, itch for her. You finish your cigarette, then take a blast of your inhaler. This doesn't feel right. This isn't how it's supposed to be. Tony. Mayanna and James picked me up at the bus station, her sympathy measured with his reprimands. I had only one question. Is Connie about? She's already on Samso, Mayanna made a face. Kirsten too. The plan was to meet Nathan's coach the following morning, then aggravate Aarhus over a few beers together before making our way across to the island and our respective farms. Mayanna heading over to her dad's in Ballon, and James heading up to the strawberries in Alstrup, while Nathan and me head down to the onions in Tannerup. Until then, though, there was no plan, so the three of us fell into drinking, and I wondered aloud how my first fuck of the season might change the way I feel about Maya. She'd seen me off earlier, then called me the moment she was home to tell me how much she'll miss me. I told her that I missed her already. We'd been speaking English, but she mumbled, "Jag älskar dig." Maya always said that "I love you" sounded too big. One thing's for damn sure. Screaming beauty can parade and gallivant all it wants, with flesh bared for those of us convinced that the more we can be ourselves, the happier we can be. But summer's just another fucking game to play. James nodded. Maya smirked. And Damon Albarn sang, "I ain't got nothing to be scared of." Been in the theatre. David. The minibus should drop you off just before 6. Head straight through the main doors and tell them the agency sent you. You'll be asked to write your name on a scrap of paper, and although you shouldn't expect introductions or an ounce of warmth, know that what each and every person on this factory floor thinks about you is of profound and vital importance to your spiritual being. So be sure to catch both of those heat-resistant gloves tossed at you as you're led over to one of only a few hulking great machines standing idly among dozens. Instruction in its operation is bare and basic, step-by-step, mundled absently through its first complete cycle, followed by observation through its second, as performed by you alone. So pay attention. For the next 12 hours, all through the night, you'll be injection moulding silicon rubber. You will be manufacturing grommets. The target is 10 moulds an hour, one every 6 minutes. Remember always to begin by spraying the core bars with a silicone monocoat. It's best to use a mist rather than a jet, as this coats the bars more evenly and makes it easier to remove the grommets. Pressing the yellow button on the control panel to your right, while holding down the green button just below and to its left, will close the hatch. Disregard all other buttons, dials and switches. There'll be 2 minutes out of every 6, during which you'll need to pretend you're not actually adrift in a vivid limbo between neurosis and melancholy, dreams crumbling away into the void. Make believe yourself the initiative to push a broom around this choking haze of invisible, thick heat and noise. Look at the state of the tissue after blowing your nose. Some of that black shit in your snot has to be in your lungs. To your left, you'll notice a large bin out of which rubber is pulled into the machine. When the line breaks or the bin empties, you'll need to climb the ladder and manually feed more material back into the piston. For Christ's sake, mind your fingers. When the hatch reopens, cool the area for several seconds with pressurized air before reaching over the mould to remove the hanging rubber scraps as well as those larger strips on top and any pieces within the holes. Take special care when throwing this waste into the recycling bin that it is rubber and only rubber. Remember the importance of remaining caffeinated. Pressing the black button to the left of the yellow one on the control panel to your right, while holding down the green button just below it, will bring out the mould. Be careful not to burn yourself, while being careful not to breathe the fumes, while being careful not to daydream about the woman you love. Lift the core bars and remove any remaining scraps from the ends before using the brass lever to prise the grommets from each bar, letting them simply fall into the receptacle below as you work your way along. Lift the core bars back into place, then spray them with a silicone monocoat. It's best to use a mist rather than a jet, as this coats the bars more evenly and makes it easier to remove the grommets. Pressing the yellow button on the control panel to your right, while holding down the green button just below and to its left, will close the hatch. You'll occasionally hear something decent on the radio, albeit so faintly as to be almost lost in the tumult of night-long rhythms, yet still enough for an extra little push behind your next 2 minutes with the broom. At 9 or thereabouts, take today's paper outside and smoke a cigarette. Read about indiscretion as a product of fame without contribution. Read about torture as a product of detention without trial. Read about murder as a product of faith without evidence. At midnight on the dot, your lunch to... At midnight on the dot, take your lunch to the break room and listen to the alarming account of an egregious beating come last orders. Avoid undue attention by reacting contrary to your actual feelings, and mirror the others at the table like the coward you are by pulling back your shoulders to nod a show of understanding as if, yeah, That black cunt was well fucking asking for it. At 3 or thereabouts, take a plastic cup of that scalding diarrhea passed off as coffee by the only vending machine in the building, and smoke a cigarette. Don't forget to write down each and every ragged insight on the unfolded card of the pack. Look at the state of the tissue after blowing your nose. Some of that black shit in the snot has to be in your lungs. The minibus should pick you up just after 6, but consider yourself lucky if you're waiting for anything less than half an hour. Regardless of available shelter, be sure to stand in a location clearly visible in the peripheral vision of a driver on a tight schedule, slowing in a fierce downpour, but failing to come to a complete stop. That scrap of paper you wrote your name on at the beginning of your shift will have long since vanished, so don't hold your breath for a paycheck. As far as those shitweasel bastards at the agency are concerned, it'll be like you were never here at all. That's the end of chapter 1. Next time, chapter 2. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, all that crap. Buy the book. Love you. Bye.